The genesis of a cyber menace from GandCrab to REvil. REvil burst onto the cybercrime scene in 2019, quickly gaining notoriety for its brazen attacks and massive ransom demands. But REvil didn't just appear out of thin air. Its roots can be traced back to a notorious ransomware strain known as GandCrab. GandCrab, active from early 2018, wreaked havoc on individuals and businesses alike. It employed a similar affiliate model to what would later become REvil's trademark. By mid-2019, GandCrab's developers announced their retirement. This left a gap in the cybercrime ecosystem, a void that REvil was all too eager to fill. With technical sophistication that surpassed its predecessor, REvil quickly established itself as a major player in the ransomware landscape. They inherited GandCrab's network and reputation, hitting the ground running with aggressive tactics and an appetite for bigger targets. REvil, also known as Sardino Kibi, signaled a new era of ransomware operations. Their focus shifted away from individual users and towards larger, more lucrative targets. This approach, dubbed big game hunting, would become synonymous with REvil and inspire a wave of copycat attacks. The group's name, REvil, is believed to be short for ransomware evil, a fitting moniker given their ruthless tactics and devastating impact. They became known for their use of double extortion, not only encrypting victims' data but also threatening to leak sensitive information if their demands weren't met. Big game hunting, REvil's audacious approach to ransomware. REvil's modus operandi marked a significant shift in the ransomware landscape. Unlike earlier ransomware strains that often indiscriminately targeted individuals, REvil set its sights on bigger prey. They went after large corporations, critical infrastructure providers, and government agencies, entities that could afford to pay hefty ransoms and were more likely to succumb to pressure under the threat of operational disruption. This big game hunting approach proved incredibly lucrative. REvil's ransom demands often reached into the millions, sometimes even tens of millions of dollars. They understood that these high-value targets were more likely to pay to avoid the potentially catastrophic consequences of a prolonged outage or a data breach. This strategy also came with an added layer of pressure reputational damage. REvil knew that for large companies and organizations, their public image was paramount. The threat of sensitive data being leaked online, potentially exposing trade secrets or customer information, was a powerful motivator for victims to comply with their demands. This brazen approach sent shockwaves through the cybersecurity community and beyond. It became clear that REvil wasn't just interested in making a quick buck, they were playing a high-stakes game with the global economy as their playground. The business of extortion, REvil's Ransomware-as-a-Service model. REvil's success wasn't solely due to their technical prowess or their audacious tactics. A key factor in their rise was their sophisticated business model, Ransomware-as-a-Service, or RaaS. This model allowed REvil to outsource some of their operations to other cybercriminals, effectively franchising their malware and infrastructure. Here's how it worked. REvil developed and maintained the ransomware strain, the leak sites used for extortion, and the payment infrastructure. They then recruited affiliates, often skilled hackers themselves, who were responsible for breaching targets and deploying the ransomware. These affiliates earned a percentage of each successful ransom payment, typically between 70 to 80%, while REvil took a cut for providing the tools and infrastructure. This model proved to be incredibly effective for REvil. It allowed them to scale their operations rapidly without needing to directly carry out every attack. This distributed structure also made it more difficult for law enforcement to track down the core members of REvil, as they were often several steps removed from the actual attacks. The RaaS model attracted a wide range of affiliates, from seasoned cybercriminals to those just starting their foray into the world of ransomware. This created a low barrier to entry for aspiring attackers, further fueling the growth of the ransomware threat. High-profile victims, Travelex and Kaseya, feel the sting. REvil's reign of terror saw them claim numerous victims across various sectors. However, two attacks in particular stand out for their scale and impact: Travelex and Kaseya. In January 2020, REvil launched a devastating ransomware attack against Travelex, one of the world's largest foreign exchange companies. The attack crippled Travelex's operations, forcing them to take their systems offline and resort to manual transactions. REvil demanded a $6 million ransom, claiming to have stolen 5 gigabytes of sensitive customer data, including credit card information. This attack highlighted the potential for ransomware to disrupt critical infrastructure and cause widespread economic damage. Then, in July 2021, REvil struck again, this time targeting Kaseya, a provider of IT management software. This attack proved to be particularly devastating due to Kaseya's role in providing software to managed service providers, or MSPs, who in turn manage IT infrastructure for numerous small and medium-sized businesses. By compromising Kaseya's software, REvil was able to launch a supply chain attack, effectively spreading their ransomware to hundreds, potentially thousands of downstream victims. This attack highlighted the growing threat of supply chain attacks and the potential for ransomware to spread rapidly through interconnected systems. Section 5. Breaching the walls. REvil's arsenal of cyberweapons. REvil's success stemmed not only from their business acumen, but also from their mastery of a range of sophisticated hacking techniques. They were known for constantly evolving their tactics, making them a moving target for security researchers and law enforcement. Phishing remained a primary weapon in REvil's arsenal. They often used highly targeted phishing emails, crafted to trick employees into clicking on malicious links or opening infected attachments. These emails were often disguised as legitimate communications from trusted sources, such as banks, government agencies, or even internal IT departments. Once inside a network, REvil employed a variety of tools and techniques to escalate privileges, move laterally, and ultimately gain access to critical systems. This included exploiting unpatched vulnerabilities, compromising user credentials, and using legitimate system administration tools for malicious purposes. They were particularly adept at exploiting vulnerabilities in widely used software, such as VPNs and remote desktop protocols, which provided them with an initial foothold into victim networks. REvil also demonstrated a keen understanding of how to maximize their profits. They were known for meticulously researching their victims, identifying their most critical assets and data, and tailoring their ransom demands accordingly. This ensured that they applied the right amount of pressure to extract the highest possible payment. Section 6. The world fights back. International pressure mounts against REvil. REvil's brazen attacks and growing notoriety did not go unnoticed. As the group continued to rack up victims and amass vast sums of money, they attracted the attention of law enforcement agencies and governments worldwide. A coordinated international effort began to dismantle REvil's operations and bring its members to justice. The US government in particular took a strong stance against REvil. In November 2021, the US Department of Justice announced the seizure of millions of dollars in cryptocurrency ransom payments made to REvil. This marked a significant victory in the fight against ransomware, demonstrating that law enforcement could track and seize illicit funds even in the world of cryptocurrency. Collaboration between international law enforcement agencies played a crucial role in combating REvil. Intelligence sharing, joint operations, and coordinated takedowns of REvil's infrastructure helped to disrupt their activities and put pressure on their operations. This international cooperation was essential in overcoming the challenges posed by REvil's global reach and decentralized structure. Section 7. Dismantling the operation. A collective effort to neutralize the threat. The pressure on REvil continued to mount as international law enforcement agencies ramped up their efforts. Through a combination of arrests, infrastructure takedowns, and the seizure of assets, the net began to close in on the group's core members and affiliates. In January 2022, Russia's Federal Security Service, or FSB, announced the arrest of several individuals believed to be connected to REvil. This operation, conducted in cooperation with international partners, dealt a significant blow to the group's operations. The arrests sent shockwaves through the cybercriminal underworld, demonstrating that even those operating from countries with historically lenient stances on cybercrime were not beyond the reach of the law. Following the arrests, REvil's online infrastructure, including their leak sites and payment portals, went dark. While it's unclear whether this was a direct result of the arrests or a preemptive measure by the group, it marked a significant disruption to their operations. The loss of their infrastructure made it much harder for REvil to communicate with victims, negotiate ransoms, and launder their illicit profits. Section 8. The Legacy of REvil, a shifting landscape for ransomware. The demise of REvil marked a turning point in the fight against ransomware. It demonstrated the effectiveness of international cooperation, public-private partnerships, and proactive law enforcement measures in combating this growing threat. However, the victory over REvil was just one battle in a much larger war. The ransomware landscape is constantly evolving. New groups emerge to fill the void left by those that have been dismantled. The tactics and techniques used by ransomware operators continue to evolve, making it more challenging for individuals, organizations, and governments to defend themselves. REvil's legacy is a complex one. While their reign of terror may be over, they left an indelible mark on the cybersecurity landscape. Their success inspired a wave of copycat groups, each vying for a piece of the lucrative ransomware pie. The tactics they pioneered, such as big game hunting and double extortion, have become standard practice in the ransomware world. Section 9. Staying ahead of the curve. The future of ransomware defense. The fight against ransomware is far from over. As cybercriminals continue to adapt and evolve their tactics, it's more important than ever for individuals, organizations, and governments to prioritize cybersecurity and adopt a proactive approach to defense. This includes implementing robust security measures such as multi-factor authentication, regular software updates, and data backups. Equally important is the need for ongoing cybersecurity awareness training to educate employees about the latest threats and how to identify and avoid phishing attempts. Collaboration and information sharing are also essential. By working together, sharing threat intelligence, and coordinating responses, we can create a more resilient digital ecosystem. Governments and law enforcement agencies must continue to work together to disrupt ransomware operations, bring perpetrators to justice, and deter future attacks. The fight against ransomware is a marathon, not a sprint. It requires constant vigilance, adaptation, and a collective effort from all stakeholders. By learning from the successes and failures of the past and by embracing a proactive and collaborative approach to cybersecurity, we can mitigate the threat of ransomware and create a safer digital future.